Creative Kill Live.
Welcome to the show where the lights go dim. Albuquerque nights, yeah, it all begins. From the Duke City streets to the ledges we ride. Everybody gets killed on Creative Kill Live. John Roberts on the mic, that's the host and creator. Wolf, Ben, and Dizzy and a squad, no debaters. Happy Anderson in the house, serial killer on the stream. Guests sit down, but they step into a dream. Brooks Smith from the silence, ghosts in the air. Talking Bigfoot stories like they're right over there. True crime echoes while the crowd's alive. Then the lights cut out, it's the end of the ride. Welcome to the show where the lights go dim. Albuquerque nights, yeah, it all begins. From the Duke City streets to the ledges we ride. Everybody gets killed on Creative Kill Live.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Creative Kill Live. I'm John.
And I'm Ben.
And today we're super excited about this.
Super psyched, man.
Yeah, this episode was personal for me, but it was a lot of fun because I got to tell you, we had on an actor. He's recently, he was in Duster, and then he was in the Murdaugh Murders. That's the one about the guys, and I think it's North Carolina or South Carolina. He murders his family, all the corruption and shit. But he's been in Mad Men.
Yeah.
He's been in The Cleaning Lady with us. But his name is Joe Pistone. Joe, we want to thank you for being on the show. We did a remote interview with Joe. He was funny, dude.
Dude, Joe, you are such a genuine guy, genuine human being. Love you to death, man. This interview was so much fun.
Dude, no, I can't wait till the audience hears about. There's him making his own horror movie as a kid and almost killing himself.
Right. Yeah.
The ghost story.
Yes, man.
That one freaked me out.
It was good.
That
it was
freaked
good.
me out.
I really, it's been a while since I've heard a story that really did legitimately give me like goosebumps, like through and through.
Yeah, because we've heard a lot. We've heard a lot.
Yeah,
and so
kind of getting numb to some of them a little bit, but this one really kind of it was a standout.
Yeah. And then he loves horror.
Yeah,
and that's the thing. He loves horror.
Genuine fan.
So right now, guys, you're about to cut to the interview, but we want to thank you, Joe, for coming on. You were completely awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, Joe Pistone. And this is Creative Kill Live, where the guest always has a killer experience. See you guys soon.
And what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Creative Kill Live. I'm John.
And Ben.
And today, guys, we have a really special guest, kind of close to my heart. It's Joe Pistone. What's up, Joe? How you doing today?
What's going on, guys?
Yeah,
good to see you.
Joe is an actor, and I met Joe on a series here called Duster. I was Joe's stand-in.
Yep.
So Joe is actually, and I always say this, Joe, I'm going to let you know, and I didn't tell you this yet, but there's I've stood in for a lot of actors, obviously trying to become an actor. You want to do that, but mine more was getting set experience. And man, I got to tell you, dude, you were so kind to me and nice to me. We ate lunch together. And I know it's just sometimes that doesn't happen in the industry. You know, there's a lot of actors that are, kind of a little pretentious. I guess.
Yeah. You know, here's my. Sorry to cut. I cut you off.
Go for it. Yeah, go.
Of doing this for close to 20 years now, I have worked with a few very well known actors who set that precedent. I remember I worked with Bryan Cranston on something, and it was like probably 10 extras on set that day, and he was so outgoing and nice. And when he left, when he rewrapped for the day, I remember he remembered every single person's name and thanked every single person, and I was like, that's the type of character you should have as a just as a person in general. And him and one time I worked with Rob Lowe, and he was the same way. We were doing a scene where we're getting drenched with pouring rain. With me and another co-star, we had one line each, and between each take they would go over with the jackets to the stars of the show. And he came over to us. He's like, guys, let me get you some jackets. Or I was like, that is just so kind and generous. And I personally love moments like that, so I try to replicate that.
And we do. I appreciate it personally, man, because it gives other actors the confidence. We were just kind of talking before the interview how we worked with Keith David, and Ben trained him, and you were kind of intimidated by him. But it's like I have two other actors that really started this with me before I even met you, which was Happy Anderson. And he was in My Hunter and all that. Happy's a great guy. And then Bo Jesse Christopher from Point Break. You know, he was the original, like one of the dead presidents in the original. He's the young kid that moons the camera. Yeah, at the time. Now Bo's older than all of us, you know, but he's coming on the show when we go to LA. But he's so kind. But then I gotta tell you, Joe, I mean, I'm not sitting here trying to pat my own back, but it opens up opportunities for people that, you know, people don't even know about. Like you didn't know who I was, you know, as a person. And now you're looking, we're about to do a feature film next year together. You know what I mean? Hopefully.
Yeah. You know, and I always, I don't know. It comes from a place of, I hope it does, authenticity. It's never, I never feel like I need to, you know, be nice to this person because maybe down the road, I mean, it makes the experience so much easier. And when you think about it, like, how blessed, like I am every time I'm able to be on set, like to get to do what we do, is just such a, in my opinion, it's just like, especially nowadays, because opportunities are few and far between. So when you get to do it, I'm just like, why wouldn't I be grateful? You know, and even on that show in particular, I mean, Josh and Rachel were just so outgoing, and it's just. I
don't think I met a bad person on that set.
No,
I mean,
all great people.
And the directors. I mean, there was a couple. Steph was a little. Not Steph. I forget her first AD. She was a little intense, but Steph Green was great. You know, the other director, I forget his name. He was great. Anyway, well, let's get into your career a little bit, Joe. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I am born and raised Jersey guy. Okay. Yeah, I did about 13 years. Well, I went to college in North Carolina for theater, and originally before acting and everything. I always tell this story. It's like I was 11 years old, typical 11-year-old. I want a baseball player, astronaut, all those things, right? And then I went to the first opening night of Jurassic Park, and then I walked out after that. I go, I don't know what I want to do in my life, but I want to do something that is part of that experience that I just had. So the initial trajectory for me was writing and directing, and then. I went to college in Wilmington, North Carolina, because they just started a film program there. And I begged my way in. I got rejected. And I wrote this big impassioned letter to the dean, like, you're just starting a film department. Here's a like a 75-minute film I made in high school. So they were like, okay, you're in. And then within a year, I was like, I got to like the theater department better. So I switched to theater. So yeah, I did that. And then you know, Los Angeles for 13 years, Atlanta for 4. Now I'm currently right outside of New York City. So yeah, I just been, you know, chipping away at this career, man. And like I said before, like it is just, there's an energy on set, and there was an energy on Duster where it was just like, it was like a kid in a candy store. It was such a fun role and everything. And
Joe, you've been out here a couple of times, haven't you? You did Cleaning Lady. I know that. I did Cleaning Lady.
I was out there for Duster. Was out there for. I got a funny actually. It goes into the supernatural too. So I was out there for Cleaning Lady, Duster, and I did a couple days on Waco season 2. So yeah.
Oh, Waco, the aftermath.
The aftermath. Yes. Yeah,
that had some issues, but production issues. Yeah, we had, there was a lot of press about that after that whole thing. You know,
the directors, the showrunners were terrific. It was an interesting experience because it was right after COVID, so and over Easter break, so I was locked in this hotel for like 6 straight days where dude, this is so my character on the show is like kind of a conspiracy theorist. The monologue got chopped up. You don't even see me in it. But I was like, I have all this time in this hotel. I'm gonna research Waco. And my family must have thought I was nuts. I was just calling. I was like, just watch this other documentary. And actually, you know what really happened there? And by the end of it, they're like, relax. But I was locked in the hotel.
Chill out. All right. Well, yeah, you've also done Mad Men because when I saw you on, I had never watched Mad Men, and then you know how you just want to binge that one series like every time. And I said this was after we did Duster together, and I started watching it. I was like, holy shit, that's Joe.
Yeah, man.
I texted you too. I think I texted you. I was like, hey man, I just saw you on Mad Men, dude.
Yeah. It was the one show that I was on where it was my favorite show on TV. So being on it was just such an experience. And Elizabeth Moss's character, I know this is odd for a man to say, but Elizabeth Moss's character on that show was my favorite character because I thought her arc was the most fascinating.
Oh yes, absolutely, 100%. I love that.
And she taught me a brilliant acting lesson because this was like maybe the fifth show I ever did. And she taught me the greatest acting lesson. So when with the prop pencil was like a period pencil. So when you wrote with it, the lead wasn't really working. So I was just like pretending to write my number as I gave it to her. And on the second take, she like opened it and she's like, I can't read it. I'm like, yeah, the pencil and everything, you know, and she's like, well, go get a new pencil because like, if you're going to write it, you're going to actually do it. And I want to read it. And it's like, I tell my students that all the time. I'm like, you're in a scene and you're supposed to be reading a book. If you're seeing where you're supposed to be taking notes, do the action. Don't just pretend it because then it's going to look like we're all faking it. Just do it. So she taught me a valuable lesson. I was like, prop guys, like, give me a pencil that works.
All right, Joe. Well, you ready to jump into your final 3 questions?
Love it.
Here we go. Okay, Joe, I always ask the first question. The first question, Joe, is what is your favorite horror movie?
It's a great question. I would say now as an adult, it's probably John Carpenter's The Thing.
Yeah, we get that all the time. That's one of them that we've gotten. I think Joe Lamb you weren't on that interview, but you and I talked about this. The director of The Fetus.
Yeah, I think I had auditioned for that like a year.
That was shot in your neck of the woods up there in Pennsylvania.
Yes, but yeah, my dad lives in Pennsylvania, and I think they shot that right. He lives right outside of Allentown, and I think they shot it. I got a plane coming over right now, but I think they shot it like right outside of Allentown, East in Bethlehem area.
Well, why The Thing? I mean, I know I saw it when I was really young. My dad let me see it because that was his favorite horror movie.
Yeah, so I'm the opposite actually. So I have another favorite horror movie, but like I think The Thing holds up better than any other horror movie. But I would say I must have been like 15 years ago, and it was after Thanksgiving at my mom's house, 10 p.m. I was home. And I was like, you know what? I've seen most of John Carpenter's movies. I grew up on Halloween, like one of my favorite horror movies of all time. I'm like, I've never watched this one. And I put it on. And it is such the script is just brilliant, but it is just such a great mystery. Yeah. And, you know, Kurt Russell, Keith David, who we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
It's like, there's not a weak actor in that cast.
Yeah, all-star cast.
All-star cast. You know, and then just it almost felt to me, and this is nothing against Alien because I love Alien, but sometimes Alien felt a little too slow for my liking. It did all the things that I felt Alien did, but it kept me like just the entire. I did not shut it off once. I did not take a break. I was just glued to it the entire time, and the suspense, the ending. You don't know. The mystery of it is just so brilliant.
So I just watched a clip. So John Carpenter did a live. So we're working with Screenbox, right? We help them promote everything and do stuff. And they just did a live concert with John Carpenter.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so they did some press. And the question they always ask him was like, at the end of the movie, who's the thing? And you still want to tell him. You still want to tell people. He's like, you got to figure that shit out yourself. You know,
I wanted so bad to ask Keith David that when I was on set, but I was like, he probably gets that question all the time.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah,
all the time.
And then I've got a quick story to tell you guys real quick. So Wilford Brimley's in it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so when I was in my 20s, early 20s, I got out of college and I was trying to figure out what I was going to do because I was going to become a cop, and I went into this law enforcement world, but Before that, I got an internship here in in Santa Fe, working as it was called a bill coordinator at the state legislature.
Okay.
So one day, I worked for the House of Representatives majority leader. His name's Kenny Martinez. And Kenny says, John, he goes, I need you to go outside and talk to this man, this actor. And it was Wilford Brimley.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Hold on, I'm going to tell you guys something. This is some crazy ass shit. He was there lobbying for cockfighting. He was a cockfighter. Like, he loved cockfighting. Okay, this is a true thing. You guys can look this shit up. Let me tell you, he was so passionate about it, and I think he was down like in Farmington or somewhere like. Okay. So there was 2 states still in the entire union that cockfighting was legal, boys, and it was Louisiana and New Mexico.
What was his case for it?
Dude, they had like 25 people coming to the lobby for this thing. He was leading it, and I'm like. What the hell? What is? And then when you see what it is, they put the knives on the end of their little fucking feet. They jump. It's so brutal.
Yeah.
But I like, we're talking about like the life goes on and Cocoon, fucking the diabetes guy.
Diabetes.
I love me some cockfighting. Anyway, I thought I'd tell you guys that story. It's a lot of fun. All right. Go ahead.
I want. So before I saw the thing, my favorite horror movie was Scream, just because it came out when I was a kid, and I couldn't go into. You had to sneak into the theater back then, so we all were hearing about this movie, and like every weekend it was selling out. So we snuck in and we watched it, like all as kids, and I'll give it up, but the 2 killer twist at the end, everybody was like. What?
Yeah, we were all blown away.
Yeah, and this is a funny story. I was so obsessed with it, and as a film nerd kid, it's like the ultimate movie. So I got a bootleg copy of it, watched it for an entire summer, every single day, studying it, and we tried to make like our own like sequel. But the best part is I was at the premiere for my first movie I ever did, and Matthew Lillard was in it.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, nicest dude. And I went up to him. I go, you don't know me, man, but Stu from Scream was like my favorite character as a kid. I watched that movie every day one summer, and he smiles and he looks at me and he goes, man, you must have had a fucked up childhood.
I gotta tell you, I met Skeet. So we were supposed to have done an interview with him, but it had nothing to do with him. It had to do with these bookers, these guys at Comic Cons and stuff, and they blocked us because we didn't want to pay them. Well, here's the thing though, our show is sponsored by the sponsor of that convention, so that's why we set the precedent. We're like, hey, it's called Duke City Toys, and they're actually sponsoring this episode too. But yeah, it was kind of crazy. All right, let's hit him with the second.
Yeah, Joe. So speaking of iconic horror villains, like the villains in Scream, what's your favorite horror villain of all time?
Or we say horror creature also too.
Yeah, that's true.
Horror creature.
Man, I think you're probably going to have heard this answer before, but Freddy Krueger, man. Freddy Krueger.
Yeah.
He's like top of our leaderboard. Yeah. I mean, this guy can't lose. Like,
yeah. I think why I point to that, and honestly, like Robert Englund in the first one, and I think New Nightmares slept on a lot, because I think his performance in New Nightmares is genuinely frightening. But what I thought was so great about it was that was at a time like Jason was coming, Jason was out, Halloween, you had Michael Myers, you had these villains, but they didn't talk, there wasn't much of a character to it. And I had a Freddy Krueger poster on my wall as a child. Like, he took it to this iconic level, and he turns to be really hilarious. But he is just like such a great. It was just such a great character, and it was one of those. It was one of those characters where you can't recast it. I'm sorry, like people can try, but it just so iconically hits.
They tried to redo it, and it wasn't. Yeah, it was. It wasn't for me. I don't like to shit on people's work, but it's like it wasn't for me. And then I tell everybody this too. It's like, you're 100% right. Like they had him doing like Pizza Hut commercials and like all kinds of
like
Freddie,
MTV Movie Awards.
yeah, like Freddie became like the fucking voice of horror, man. Like because he did talk, and then everything was kind of campy and satirical, and then Dream Warriors. That's my favorite one.
That's a great one.
Yeah, I love it.
I would say the closest thing nowadays, though, to like an iconic performance is, I mean, Bill Skarsgård as Pennywise is doing some awesome work.
Are you watching Welcome to Derry?
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah. So Charlie, my daughter's outside the door right now. She kind of looks like that little girl with the snail eyes. My daughter looks just kind of.
Oh, really? Okay.
They have a lot of symbol. I mean, Charlie's older than you are, probably, but that last episode, we talked about it with our last guest. I was like, that shit was like legit scary. Like I was like intense. She's running around trying to grab her eyes, and then obviously what happened. I don't like to ruin it for anybody.
I mean, I think I love that it's also bringing in Stephen King's other works.
Yes,
it's doing what I wished. I hope they do it, but I wish the Dark Tower they wanted it. What I wanted the Dark Tower to do is just kind of bring all that together. And I'm watching this. I'm like, we got The Shining in here, and I think I don't know.
Shawshank. You have Shawshank, but you're speaking my language right now, because they were going to try. I mean, they did the one with the Matthew McConaughey and Idris Elba, But I mean, it didn't hold up. I really hope that they keep these same people that's doing this series and keep the universe going like this, because this could be potentially like a Game of Thrones. Like if they keep it going the way it goes, and you keep running the Stephen King universe, because a lot of people, I watch all these influencers because they tap us all the time, horror guys, people that review stuff. A lot of people don't even realize that Pennywise is not just the clown.
No. That's why my sister watched the first episode, and she was very confused. Like she's like, "What?" I'm like, "He's an entity that takes different forms." And she's like, "Oh, I didn't even realize that." I go, "Yeah, he's not like a real human being. He's, the deadlights. That's honestly, I've read so many Stephen King books, but now that I think of it, it's so odd that I haven't read that one. He's that also, it's like the stuff that they're showing us in Welcome to Derry too. It's like that first episode, the freaking demon baby or whatever. Like one big wing and one. It was scary. Yeah, and they've done a great job of casting really great young actors too, because that's not always easy. And I can't imagine how big that casting search was, but they found some really good young actors, especially the kid in that first episode. Not to spoil anything, so I won't. But the one who gets in the car,
yes. Oh man, he reminds me of. There's this. I don't know who the older actor is, but he's got kind of that old soul kind of thing.
Yes,
and then you have that little smart ass kid too, who's talking shit.
Yeah.
I love when good casting directors find kids like that. Yes. Kids that can fucking just blurt out like. They hit their cues perfectly. They when they deliver the line, it comes out. You're like, oh my god, that kid's awesome. I've
worked with a very well-known actress now, and I have worked with her when she was real young, when she was just starting out, and my acting coach had her, study with us, and she was probably like 15 at the time, and her like instant take to the craft was just like, I'm watching it and I'm like, man, I've been trying like 10, 15, 20 years at that point to like have the connection. But young people, if you catch them young enough and they're not like, go through this school and that school and that school, you just get the raw talent where they're just listening and reacting and just believing in the imaginary circumstances. They are, I mean, look at Haley Joel Osment in The Sixth Sense. They are like, just some of the best actors you can find. Sorry, my phone was ringing. Those kids are doing great work on that show.
That's great. All right,
so moving forward here. So Joe,
tell us what horror movie just like lives rent free in your head, like just had a dramatic experience on you, and it's just like
scare the shit out of you.
Yes,
That's
exactly.
what I say.
There's
I
I have when Jason jumps out of the water in Friday the 13th Part 1, that moment gave me nightmares
That's a kid.
for weeks. Terror. I remember I saw it. It was like the summertime at home, and then I had to go to the to our I don't know what it's called, rec center for practice or whatever. And like I went and used the bathroom by myself, and I was terrified. And I was like, anytime I had to like, I was like afraid he was gonna pop out at like anywhere I was. So I was like, for like that entire day after I saw it, I was just like, I got to be around people, because it's the most if you know, nobody tells you, it's the most unexpected thing, because you don't the ending, you don't expect that, because we found out who the killer is, and then just seeing him come out of the lake and his, but and this is, I have another one, but this is so absurd. And you know what movie? It's not even a horror movie. This, as a little kid, it terrified me. Was Eric Stoltz in Mask?
Oh,
When I was like, and I feel bad because that's a real condition, but when I was 5 or 6, it used to terrify me. And this is not a lie, guys. I was in college, and I was sitting on my couch. And like that movie, like if it came on the TV as a kid, I would freak out. I was just flipping through channels in college, and it came on. And as some knee-jerk reaction, I dropped the remote. I ran out of the house, and I was like, and then like 15 seconds later, I was like, "What are you doing?" And I was just like, my instinct was, the makeup work on that movie was incredible.
No, it's phenomenal. And back to Friday the 13th, real quick. I wanted to tell you, you know, that was not even a hockey match, Jason. That's like where he had the fucked up face.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so, and I tell people, I'm like, you know, the hockey mask is great for the intensity of the slasher and all that. And then they just kept it going. But that first one, you know, the mom and that, they're making actually the prequel series.
Yeah, they're shooting it. So I live in Jersey, right outside the city, and they're shooting it all over. Like they literally were in right down the street from this restaurant I was at the other night, and the 80s were coming in and that kind of stuff. So they're shooting it because Camp Crystal Lake, it took place in Jersey, so they're shooting it all over New Jersey. I don't know if they wrapped her or not, but it's Linda Cardellini, I think, is playing.
Yeah, she's playing the mom.
Yeah. So that moment was probably that, you know, and then of course, like The Exorcist at a young age is just, as a Catholic kid, you're just like, yeah.
Yeah, we talked about that. My mom, I think I saw The Exorcist when I was like 12 or 13. I had a slumber party, and I wanted a horror themed slumber party.
Yeah.
On my birthday, and she rented that, and then we had Poltergeist, and then there was this third one. I can still remember what it was called, but guys, it was worse. It's called Extro, EXTRO. If you ever look it up, yeah, it's about an alien. It's kind of like the fetus.
Okay.
I don't know. It was
Okay.
one of those like I think it was the one my mom picked out too. Like my mom was like, "Oh, you guys should watch this one," and it was awful. Like, but it was sex and blood and all this stuff. And then when we watched it, we were like, "What the?" Anyway, all right. Well, I got to shout out one more thing. I got to shout out my good friend Steve Mosier, who I grew up with, because he's the one who he moved to our town like in 6th grade, and then he showed us every single horror movie we thought we should see. So all of us kids in town were like, he knew them all. So he got me into horror.
Doing now, what all Steve's doing now? Maybe.
Steve, he works at the ShopRite Liquor down the street. Still friends with him, man. Yeah, good guy.
Okay, great. Well, thank you for those answers. We love those, Joe. Those were fantastic. Now, Joe, the second segment of our show we call story time. Obviously, we're all on set. We get story time when they come and read us the scripts or the sides and all that stuff. So we're gonna ask you, Joe, have you ever had like we call it either a supernatural experience, unexplained experience, something that scared the shit out of you? We want to hear one of your freaky stories, and I read them, and I cannot wait for them.
Oh, so I feel like I have a few of them. Well,
we're not dead because we got about 10, 15 minutes.
Oh, so. Beautiful. So the first one is my grandma, God rest her soul. and we were talking about this the other day. She had a psychic she used to go to all the time, you know. So she would go to this psychic all the time, come back. Oh, I talked to this person. I talked to that person. Like all the dead people she talked to, blah, blah, blah. And one day she called me, and I was in high school at this time. And she said, Joey, I just went to the psychic, and be careful. And I was like, what? Why? She goes, she saw something dark happening to you. And I was like, okay. All right, Grandma. And that night we were in the car, my buddy Max's car, and driving down the road in New Jersey, hit a patch of ice, flew off the road and hit a telephone pole. Now, yeah, knock on wood, we were all safe. We were all safe, knock on wood. And I got out of that car, and that was the first thing I was there. I was like, oh, maybe that stuff is real.
Yeah, right.
Maybe it is.
Was right.
She was the best, man. I love my grandma, but you never knew when it was a real story or a fake story. So I got a funny story about her. She had this picture on her nightstand, and it was like this ghostly picture of Jesus Christ in the clouds. And she used to tell us that she was on a road trip with her husband and their friends, and it was storming and there was a hurricane, and she took that picture in the middle of it all, and that's what it turned out to be. So I was a kid. I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. I was at the grocery store like maybe 5 years after that. It was just like on the National Enquirer. You must have just had cut it out.
I love it, right?
It made that story up. So
she's
yeah.
probably like, I'm gonna screw with these kids.
Yeah.
You know, my grandmother was the same way. My grandmother always screwed with me.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel like definitely that generation, they have this tendency to do the long game when it comes to jokes like that. You know what I mean? They're not necessarily like that one hit, like instant gratification doesn't mean anything to these people. They're like, I'm gonna let this guy stew in this for like 10 plus years and then be like, gotcha, you know?
Oh yeah. Yeah. And the scare tactics they used to always, you walk out of the house, you swore, you're gonna get kidnapped, you swore this was gonna happen, or they just like there's no just like always on edge.
Well, yeah, in our age, you know, I mean, I don't know how you all, I'm 48, Ben, you're 42 or whatever, but but what I tell people is, you know, we come from the generation where it was like Stranger Things. It was like, hey, go outside with your friends. We don't want to see you anymore.
Yep.
You know, and we used to go get into shit. We'd do this. Everybody get on their bikes. We'd ride. You know, we'd go find somewhere to go break something or dig in a creek or get the animals or whatever. Yeah. We used to go. I grew up in Denver, Colorado. So these huge. It was like Pennywise. They had these huge drainage. Like you could walk in these huge drainage tunnels, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah, and that we used to love to go down in there. Yeah, we bring and that was those old flashlights. Those were with the LEDs that had like the deep size batteries.
Yeah, huge batteries. Yeah, they weighed like 5 pounds.
Yeah. And we walked through, and we think something was gonna come after us and stuff. But yeah, they did. So go ahead, tell us your second one. I want to wait for the New Mexico one. Why don't we leave that one for last?
And to be honest with you, I miss those times. Like, I'm so glad we had those. But so I have another. So my other one is, and this isn't me. This is my little brother. So he must have been like 6 or 7 years old. And our grandfather was very sick. He was bedridden, and he was staying in the front room downstairs in our house. And he couldn't walk. You know, we had to carry him not me, but my father had to carry him wherever. And my brother's room was upstairs. And one night, my brother wakes up. He's probably like 5 or 6. He goes in my dad's room. And my dad, he was crying. And my dad's like, what's wrong? And he goes, Grandpa just came in my room and said goodbye to me. Dad's like, no, he didn't. Like, you had a dream. Like, he can't walk. And my dad went downstairs, and he had passed away.
Yeah.
So...
Oh my God.
Okay.
Yeah. It could, very easily could have just been a coincidence and it was a dream or whatever, but I don't know, man. There feels like there's something else. That's creepy. But that made my hair stand up on my arm, man. I was just like, whoa. Yeah.
But I've heard stories like that before. You know, that's not the first time we've ever heard something like that, where somebody talked to their relative, you know, or thought they have, and then next thing you know, they went in the other room. They were passed away, you know, and yeah, wow, man. Okay, and then I want to hear this New Mexico story, this Airbnb story, because a lot of our audience here, Joe, is from New Mexico, and obviously you came out here and spent some time here. Yeah. We're a big film hub. First of all, how do you like New Mexico? I mean,
well, I have a hard time. It sounds weird. I have a hard time sleeping and getting comfortable in New Mexico because it just feels like you guys live there, so you probably don't feel it. Just always go there. It feels like there's a presence, like almost like a haunted presence. Yeah, that I can't put my finger on. But I've had fun out there. I've had a lot of great times out there. I mean, I've only stayed in Albuquerque when I've been, and I want to explore more. Like, I really do regret, like, the 6 weeks I was out there on Duster that I didn't, like, go to Santa Fe or anywhere else. But it was snowing, and it was, like, 20 degrees, so I didn't. But, no, I've always had a blast. But
let me touch on that real quick, because you were right. Remember being out in Algodones at that fucking power plant, dude?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And it was supposed to be July in the show. So it was like 20 degrees. Yeah,
we were freezing our asses off, all of us.
Yep.
I mean, there was that one night shoot where you guys are doing, you know, where we're shooting, you guys have the shootout in the warehouse or in the whatever, the manufacturing plant. And I just remember you having this jacket, and we're all just sitting there and we're freezing. And then anytime you get shot there, remember they made me lay down on the fucking ground forever.
It was so cold, dude.
Yeah, dude, I had to lay down on the ground for you. And you, every time you walk up, you're like, "You good, man?" I'm like, "Yeah, I guess." You know, but anyway, go ahead.
So I was listening. This was like the day I was flying out. The day I was flying out to Albuquerque to work on that, I was packing my bag, about to go, and I had popped on this interview with Billy Bob Thornton, and he was talking about how he has a phobia of antique furniture. And I was listening to it, and I was like, that is weird, man. That's weird. Okay. Cut to like 6 hours later, I'm in Albuquerque, get to the Airbnb, which I hadn't really looked at yet. And I go inside, and it's all antique furniture.
Oh, shit.
And I am like, oh, I get it.
Where was this at?
It was,
you remember? Was it near the studio?
It was, you remember when we filmed at the hotel?
Yes.
It was about like a mile from there. But so that first night, it was just like everything. It wasn't like I wasn't like in a castle antique, but it was like it felt like from my grandma's house during the 1940s. So the first night I'm laying in that bed, and there's a weird noise like from the heater. Like the heater would shut off and it would just go and just tap. And it was so weird. And then I'm finally closing my eyes to fall asleep. And there was a metal rod that like there wasn't closet doors. There's just a massive metal rod with two curtains to cut off like for where the closet was.
Partition it, yeah.
Yeah. So I finally was like nodding off, and that thing fell, and I didn't go to sleep that night. I jumped out of my skin. I went in the living room, turned on every light, and I watched TV until the sun came up. And the 6 weeks I was there, the one good night's sleep I had was because I had gotten very drunk that night, and I just basically passed out every night. I was like on all, because it was interesting. It felt off, and I think it was like the old quality of the furniture and the old TV set and everything. And that was. But I'm also afraid of my own shadows. So
okay. we have a location that we've done some stuff in. I won't tell you. It's in the similar area where you're at, near downtown. Its name is Rose Manor.
Okay.
And Rose Manor is one of the most haunted places in Albuquerque. They claim. Okay. So this is funny, Joe. So when I was scouting locations for my film, I was looking for the final house, like the final location. So what do? I Google scary haunted house Albuquerque. This is the first fucking place that pops up.
Oh,
right. And it's called Rose Manor. The funny thing is, and I'm not going to try to ruin it, but the antagonist for our film is named Rose. And so I was like,
coincidence.
Fine. No, hold on. Ben will tell you. So then we go do the location scout, and I call him, and his name sounds like a fucking Scooby-Doo fucking thing. His name is Old Man Carmen. Is what Old Man Carmen gets on the phone, and he calls me, and he's like, "Hey, Mr. Roberts," and I was like, "Listen, I want to scout this location. I'd like to go there to look at for a film." And he was like, yeah, come on in. He just gives me the code. It has an electronic door lock, one of those digitals. He just gives me the code. Doesn't even know who I am. And he says, "Go on in. Have a good time. You guys do whatever you want to do there," right?
Yeah.
So I went in and I looked at it, and I'll get to Ben here in a second. I was like, as soon as I walked in, I was looking around, and I go, "Oh, this is the place. This is it."
Yeah.
So and this was 3 years ago when it was titled something else. We're making the announcement about the film, so I don't mind talking about it. We're announcing at the first of the year we're going to go into production this year. Yada yada yada. Yeah. Anyway, so then I was like, you know what? It was right when I had started our main cast, and Ben and I had met on Obliterated. That's That's how we met. We talk about it on every show. Like,
oh, that's awesome. My stepsister just met C. Thomas Howell at some autograph signing. He was
I stood in for him.
Oh, no way. Okay, yeah.
I stood in for a lot of people, Joe. Anyway, I can't get casted, but they'll cast me as a stand-in. Okay. Right. Now, I have a good shiny head,
Hey,
Anyway, but yeah, so Ben and I met on the set of Obliterated, and I was like, "Hey, man," I was like, "I've got this character for my film. I really want you to be in it." And he's like, "Fuck yeah, dude." So we wanted to have a just a read, right?
Yeah.
And I called Old Man Carmen, and I said,
"It's a great name, by the way."
I said, "Mr. Carmen," I said, "can we go there and have a table read, like just read with the main cast? We're just going to go over the script. I want to get everybody the feel of it and whatever." And he's like, "Yeah, sure, John." He's like, "You got the code." That's all he tells me all the time. You can ask him. We can go in there. They started using it as an Airbnb, but then the guy who was managing it for Mr. Carmen, I don't know what happened. Anyway, it's kind of just sits there. And Old Man Carmen, by the way, has 96 properties throughout the United States. He has all these different houses and Airbnbs that he does. But Ben, tell him about it. How?
So, Joe, you mentioned that haunted kind of feeling, right? Just like this kind of ambience of haunt, if you will. And being in Rose Manor, that is the exact feeling you get there. I mean, it doesn't really matter where you're at in the house. Obviously, being downstairs is preferable. But when you start going into the upstairs, the house was, you can tell it's obviously early 1900s kind of architecture and whatnot.
It's a Victorian too.
Yeah.
Hey, Joe, it's 3 stories.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Hold on. And on the second story, they have a spiral staircase that goes up to what used to be an attic, right?
Yeah.
And Ben is huge. Ben is you're 6'. Tell him how big you are.
Yeah, I'm 6'3", 270.
Okay.
Right.
So yeah.
Ben used to play. He was a college football player, right? So you can just put it like that. So he can barely bend. So you have to wiggle your way up this staircase. And then you're at the top of the roof.
Yeah.
Then tell him about the murder.
So
tell him about
get up there, and John doesn't. He lets me discover this on my own, by the way, right? He's just just go up there, check it out. I'm not going to tell you too many details, blah blah blah. And I'm I kind of feel like I'm getting set up here, but I understood why when I got to the top of the 3rd floor. This going through this claustrophobic staircase, by the way, and you get up there, and there's just this kind of almost random, really, because you don't really expect it. That one of those old school tubs, all white tubs, just sitting in the middle.
It's sub too. It's stuck into the ground. Yeah. So it's like you're walking on the floor. There's a tub in the ground.
Whoa.
And it's when you see it, when you come back here for this, we're gonna show you. We call it the murder tub.
It is totally a murder tub.
It's a murder tub.
It's just is it just randomly no reason?
You have two, and it's really weird too because they made it into a bedroom and they just have 2 twin beds up there. And then there's this room. You look inside the room. There's not a sink. There's nothing. It's just a fucking tub in the middle of the room, and it's flush with the floor.
Yeah,
and
weird,
so,
dude.
and I even asked Old Man Carmen about it. I was like, "What is up with the tub upstairs?" And he's like,
"What did he say?"
He goes, "It was there when I bought it." is what he says.
He
The
ain't
guy
changing a thing. Old man Karl
No,
ain't
he
changing a thing.
No, and then they've decorated it with this old Victorian furniture to make it look creepier and stuff. But it's a really, really crazy place. But yeah, that's our little. It's one of our new sets we play in, you know, because he lets us go there and shoot there all the time. He says, whatever we want to shoot there, we can go there and shoot there. You
That's
know?
nice. Just no cost or anything.
No.
Man.
He was trying to. He was doing it for us because, and we're still. He wants to reopen as an Airbnb. You know, as a haunted Airbnb, and he may have done it. I haven't talked to him for a couple of months, but the last time I went, I took my DP there to do a camera scout, whatever the DP guys do, and he had a guy living there, like a guy had leased it, but the guy was a creepy motherfucker. Like, living in this place, and hold on, we had a meeting there, remember? And I invited him. I had bought a bunch of food so we could all sit in there and kind of just talk about shot lists. This was when we were supposed to start production on these things 2 years ago.
Yeah, I remember you. Remember you telling me about this like last year.
Yeah, and then of course the shutdown strikes. Everybody knows how it goes. Yeah. And then everybody in our world. Then this guy, he had a locking door. You could hear him in his bedroom, and I would invite him downstairs, and he's like, "I'm not coming down there. I'm not coming down there with you guys." It's like he locks himself in his room because he's terrified of the fucking place.
And he lives there.
And he lived there for like 4 months.
Make a movie about this guy.
Yeah. And then I went back with Karl. You'd seen him earlier, our producer, to take some pictures, and the guy was gone. And he had left I had to call old man Carmen because I was like, I think the guy walked out on me. I think he left. And Mr. Carmen said he had never heard from the guy again. So maybe there's some lore there. Maybe he got murdered.
Seriously. He said there was no guy there.
Yeah.
Right? What guy?
That's
I love
funny.
it.
Well, Joe, I gotta ask you, New Jersey, huh? You guys have a lot of like folklore stuff over there. The Jersey Devil.
Dude, I got sitting on my my coffee table right here a book called Weird New Jersey, which is the whole. It's a coffee table book, a whole lore of every New Jersey, haunted story. I actually, funny that you mentioned it. I lived right off of Annie's Road, which is like one of those lore roads. When I grew up, so basically Annie's Road was like, there was apparently like a ghost Annie who was a high school, like at her prom, she was killed and something happened and she haunted the road. But it was, I would say, probably 3 mile stretch of road with no lights. You would go past the cemetery. And I remember driving home one night, and this is so wild. Like you didn't want to stop on that road. It was really creepy. And I remember driving home on that road one night, and I had my old like $800 first car, and out of nowhere, just the radio the CD cut off and the radio popped on. It was just like garbled, like FM radio, like, and then it just shut off. And I just kept driving. I was like, I got it. But it was so there's Annie's Road, there's the New Jersey Devil, there's a ton of like haunted places. But yeah, I was basically like on the nice part of that road where
right. Well, you guys kind of butt up to Appalachia, that neck of the woods. And my family, my dad's side's from West Virginia. So there's a lot there, yeah. We have the same kind of thing. And then finally, Joe, we're going to kind of touch, we're getting towards the end of the interview. We're wrapping it up. I want to talk to you about, I know you said you only did a small part in it, but Murdaugh, Death in the Family, or, didn't you do that?
Yes. So I did a tiny little part on that. What was it? I think I shot that end of May.
Okay.
I did a small little part on it. And pretty much I had a
crazy story, dude. I mean,
what's that?
It's a crazy story. We talked through crime, You were down in Atlanta when that kind of went down, weren't you? Like that whole North Carolina.
So that was South Carolina. I think the case happened in South Carolina. So I remember like watching that documentary at the time, but only story. Brittany Brittany Snow is who I work with, and she was terrific. And it was just one day on set with her and another lady. But the only story I have from that is, so I went to school in North Carolina.
Yeah.
And my buddy Evans, growing up, his dad was very Southern, like old school Southern boy. And I remember I was in the makeup trailer on that, and they were shaving off my mustache and doing my hair to make me look like the real guy. And Jason Clark came in, full makeup, in the accent, had the walk down. And I knew him from his other stuff, like Zero Dark 30. And,
I worked with him on Silk Road.
dude, and I
was his lead SWAT team guy on Silk Road.
Oh, really? Really? I just watched because he was in the accent and he was in the clothes, and I swore I was looking at my best friend from college. I swore I was looking at his dad and hearing his dad, and I was like, that moment I was like, I think this guy might win an Emmy for this, because I was like, he had it, and he's incredible on it, and he had it down, just and this just not a fake note to him. He reminded me. I was shocked that he was Australian. I had known that, but I was like,
yeah,
didn't see anything that I recognized him in, if that makes sense. Like, there was no himisms in it. He was this old school Southern boy that I had met, through friends' parents and stuff like that. So he nailed that part, man.
Yeah, well, I've watched 2 episodes of it. It's kind of, I've been so busy lately with this and some other stuff. But you're right. He captures that character perfect. I mean, even if you look at the trial cases, like where they, because they televised that fucking trial everywhere, man. That was one of those everybody wanted to watch,
Oh, yeah.
because he represented himself. He was a madman. That guy was crazy as shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
And it's unfortunate what he did, but yeah, that's a crazy story with the whole thing with his family and the corruption behind everything in that whole thing.
I always, it was the tiny part on it, and I always find though, like, if I find like a challenge that I can like, if I can make the role interesting to me, I don't care how small it is. Like, I'm gonna find my way into the character. Now, there's some stuff nowadays where I'm like, I don't really want to do that anymore. Like, I played like, police officer number 12 like 50 times. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But and also a lot of the time too is like, who do I get to work with? I get to work with like an interesting actor that I like, or if I get to work like with a director that I like, I'm like, yeah, why? There's always what's the word? How do I phrase it? There's always ways to build out a character, even if it has little lines. So I had a fun time. Yeah.
Right. Well, let me ask you this, because I didn't go through your profile. I know you personally, and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Have you done any horror movies ever?
No.
So,
No, except for when we were kids and we tried to make that horror movie, a sequel to Scream. And a story about that. I have a scar on my wrist here because we were so stupid. We were like 15 and we didn't realize, like, when they use fake knife, they use a knife in a movie. It's a fake knife. So we had like my friend Steve, we had his like mother's like butcher knife, and we're filming the scene, and like I have to grab the guy's arm who has the knife, and it went, and dude, it is about it is so close to that vein in my arm.
oh my God.
And I am so lucky. It's still scarred there, but I am so lucky. So that was my only horror movie experience. And then after that day, we shut it down. We're like, yeah, let's not do this.
You're like, yeah, safety first.
Yeah.
Well, awesome, Joe. Well, we would appreciate you telling us all this, to telling us your story.
Yeah.
And Joe, our third segment, and I really didn't prep you for this because I like it to be genuine. We do a moment that's called Helping with Horror, okay?
Yeah.
And Joe, if you were to give advice to a younger actor now, right, trying to break into the business, we've asked all these other actors, what would your advice to be? Because I know the climate of the industry right now is not good. I mean, it really isn't. Not here, at least in the United States. We all know. You just left Atlanta.
Mhm.
And then we're here where we're used to like 15 productions going on. There's like 3.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So what would you say to a younger actor now that wants to break into the business and become an actor? What would you tell them? And you're a coach, so you can.
Yeah, I mean, there's the obvious ones. Like I feel like a lot of I'm generalizing here, but I feel like when I was starting out, like there was a passion to learn the craft and understand, the actual the craft and the approach, and to get better at it. I feel a lot of young actors are like, oh, I took a couple workshops, I know what I'm doing. So I think it's, it goes without saying, like, you should study the craft so you have something to fall back, because a lot of people just have the natural ability, but you have something to fall back on, because sometimes, you'll wake up and have a role and be like, oh my God, how do I do this? And then that's why craft is so great. But I say the one piece of advice I give is, I've known people who have Oscars. I know people who have Emmys. I know people who are on billboards now, and billboards for massive movies right now. And the one thing they all had in common is they worked harder than anybody else in the room.
I love that.
They all worked like they were training for the Olympics, and they all became incredibly successful because they were willing to work harder. And the biggest mistake I made at the beginning of my career, I would say the first 10 years of my career, is I spent a lot of times coasting. Like, I don't need to really like break down the script for an audition. I don't really need to prepare that much. Let's just go in and see what happens. And I think that cost me. It wasn't until about 2013 that I really started. 2014, I really started working. And it was because I have a coach, and I still work with him, who said, no, you're going to put in the work, and I'm going to call you on it if you don't. And it just became ingrained in me. And those people, yeah, like I said, and they worked harder than anybody else in the room. Even if it was an audition, even if it was a scene study class, they would come so more prepared than everybody else.
That's right. Well, Joe, we have, I mean, obviously this goes on the internet. Why don't you go ahead and tell everybody about your acting class? Because Joe has a great acting class all the time. I constantly repost it for you. Tell everybody. Yeah, so
please. I forget my Instagram handle. Wait, let me pull up my Instagram. I forgot my handle. This is so pathetic. But anyway, this is how you can get a hold of, so go to Joe Pistone Official, Joe Pistone Official, and you could contact me there if you want to sign up for classes. So I teach Wednesday nights on Zoom. We do a ongoing scene study class. So basically you get a scene assigned to you, and we work on it for 2 weeks, and we break it down. I mean, me personally, I subscribe to the Meisner method, Sanford Meisner approach to acting, which is, it's a lot of imagination work rather than pulling from, your past, because for that works great for some people, but me, the work itself in imagination to get to those emotional places works better for me. And more important than anything, it's all about talking and listening, taking it off the other actor. Great examples of that is, you watch something with Jeff Goldblum. He's always alive because he is a big Meisner-based actor, and he's always taking off the other actor. The greats, I feel, are all, their attention's on you.
Yeah.
And whatever you're giving me, I'm responding off of what you're giving me rather than creating this idea of how the scene should be played. So it's we do a lot of work where I'm, challenging my students, like I said before, to come prepared. You got, we get an audition, and I got an audition. It was an 8-pager for something on Hulu the other day, and I had to turn it around in 48 hours. And your job is to get as close as you can to learning those lines, understanding your character. So I treat it like a boot camp. It might be a scene for class, but I want you to treat it like you're auditioning for the next big Netflix series. So yeah, but Meisner-based approach. It's on Zoom Wednesday nights from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. Every student gets to work every night. That's why I keep my class super small. So yeah, DM if you have any questions.
Yeah, Joe, that's awesome, man. Well, we thank you for coming on, and I just told you this earlier. thank you for being so kind to me. And I can't wait to work with you here. And hopefully this next year in the future, I mean, depending on whatever the hell happens in our universe. But right now it seems like we're pretty locked in. It's just it's been this off and on with distribution companies and getting the loan for the film required to get distribution, and then it's like every little thing has been. And so finally, I've been drinking from a fire hose, Joe. Is what I tell everybody, and now I've kind of got it figured out. I ran a private security company for 20 years. It's really not much different. I tell people that in film, a lot of it, especially when you get to the actual production part, it's more logistics and schedules and stuff like that. Finding the right talent is your casting director and your director or whatever. But when you get to a film set, there's got to be people that move all that stuff there and all, your crew and stuff. And in security, I dealt with the same thing. I spent 2 years in New Orleans after Katrina. I was there 3 days after Katrina. You and I never talked about that. But, we had to mobilize, 100 guys down there. And that's like a film set. That's what I tell people. So when I do say this, I tell these people, they're like, oh, it's so hard. It's so difficult. You're just never going to understand it. I say, oh, no, trust me. I've understood it. I've been there. I've done that. And if you're ex-former law enforcement, military, anything like that, this kind of thing. It's kind of similar,
It's honestly, that's why I never pursued directing past like one or two things, because it takes a special breed of person to deal with. Everything's on you. It's on your shoulders, and it's a massive responsibility. And I know how much things can go wrong. So I hope it all, knock on wood, goes right, and we are on set next year.
Well, we thank you, Joe Pistone. Real quick, Joe, I got to plug our sponsors. We want to thank Leo at Duke City Toys. Thank you, Leo. You are so kind to us to help us create these shows. And then we want to thank Crown Jewels and Coin today. Crown Jewels and Coin, that's your place to get your jewelry here in Albuquerque, anything you need. Thank you very much to everybody, ladies and gentlemen. This is Joe Pistone, actor, amazing person, coach. Check him out.
Please.
He just told you his Instagram handle. And Joe, we have one more thing to tell you real quick. You ready?
Yeah.
You're one of the lucky ones.
Duke City Toys for new and used toys, games, and collectibles. Star Wars, Marvel, DC, board games, Albuquerque's largest selection of wrestling collectibles, and so much more. When it comes to toys, we don't play. Duke City Toys.